Okay, all you freshmen folks, listen up!
The beloved Dazed and Confused has become such a cult classic, quotable film over the years that people have hailed as one of the best hangout films. It's the ideal slice of life film showing a group of high schoolers in a small town just hanging out, drinking beer, smoking za, and getting into shenanigans. But is that all that it is? Listen, I'm not the first one to take a deeper look into Dazed and Confused, and I think it's still a great, simple, and shining look at high school life and the mind and the specificity of the 70s, and the characters seems to be spot on, but I also think there's something deeper emotionally going on, because of course, people have tried to recreate this laid-back, easy-breezy film before. Linklater's not even the first one to do it, really. Films in the 70s and the 60s were the first films to kind of just glide on vibes and have less emphasis on plot. Now, slice of life is a relatively common subgenre and a subgenre of a genre. But Dazed has so many new movie stars in it that it's become very popular and probably misused by high schoolers and college kids and stoners as their own movie. But go ahead. Have your own movie. I'm not going to stop you. One of my highlights in my entire life so far was watching this at the New Beverly, Tarantino's theater in LA. Yes, seeing a movie in a certain theater is a highlight in my life. That's how it's going. I think seeing it there was the absolute ideal atmosphere, because I don't know, it's just nothing but the music was so loud. It was literally like I was at an Aerosmith concert, I was out at a Kiss concert, I was at an Alice Cooper concert. It was so loud, it just coursed through my veins, and I suddenly got it, or it washed over me. I've seen this film many times before. I even showed it to my parents, and they infamously walked out. But it's here nor there. Dazed and Confused was released in 1993. It was written and directed by Richard Linklater and stars Jason London, Willie Wiggins, Mateo McConaughey, Rory Cortran, Joy Lauren Adams, Mila Jovovich, Sean Andrews, Adam Goldberg, Anthony Rapp, Cole Hauser, Ben Affleck, and Parker Posey, just to name a few. It's set in a small Texas town on the last day of high school. It's 1976, May 28th, 1976. And it's safe to call Randall Pink Floyd our main character, where he's the star quarterback, but he isn't too fond of this paper that the coaches are making all the players sign to promise not to drink over the summer. That way, they're ready to win the state championship come next season. One could argue that little tyke Mitch could be the main character as well, or at least there's a dual protagonist thing going on. Bottom line, we're not following a typical story arc, so it really doesn't matter who the main character is, because we're just kind of along for the ride. We're just watching it all happen. Mitch is the unfortunate 8th grader turning freshman this year, and he has to run from the upperclassmen who paddle the incoming freshman boys as a hazing ritual. Don't worry, the upperclassmen aren't sexist. They do it to the girls as well. The girls get their own dosage of hazing. Honestly, I'd just take the paddle. I really would. I would not want to. It's just gross and demeaning what they have to go through. Many colorful characters populate the screen, and every actor just nails the performance that they're doing so dang well. It feels exactly like you just walked into a high school circa 1976, and there's just random kids talking in the hallways. It literally feels like a fly on the wall. The actors somehow were able to channel or just do their most natural and charismatic performances, not to feel over too much, and it's not too little. It's all just, I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's a multifaceted flick. It can be viewed on many levels, as I kind of said, but from the most obvious angle is the stoner, the dropout, the rebellious teen angst flick, to the more subtle of the flying cry of masculinity and growing up inside of it. Vietnam, hazing, romance, neo-McCarthyism, partying, sex, all adapted and observed through the eyes of children. So you have kids like Mike and Tony who seem to have a grasp of social constructs at a young age, looking to be your more clean type of hippie. Perhaps calling them hippies isn't quite correct. Seems a little extra. But you also have the girls' bathroom talk where they have a clear understanding of how men and women are viewed socially. A lot of smart kids here. Literally, the second shot of the movie is Michelle rolling a joint. The Kiss statues are smoking a bit of weed. We have a lot of graffiti on the walls of certain historical figures smoking pot. Slater is kind of the main stoner. He's like, and he kind of he has an influence on Pink and other students. So marijuana is a prominent element in the film. But I've heard some other people say that when they first watch it, that it isn't much of a stoner movie to them, or at least that's what they're expecting it to be. And when they do watch it, they find out that it's not just a stoner movie. It really isn't. Quickly, Slater is such a funny guy. Rory gives his best performance here because I could watch his character do literally anything. Seeing him just walk through a crowd cracks me up. So if the film isn't about smoking and getting high, what is it about? If the second shot is a joint, what's the first shot? Let's have a car. A 1970 Pontiac GTO, to be precise. The movie is about cars, man. Think about it. Cars are a symbol of freedom. The film opens up with a car rolling through a parking lot and ends with the open road. Freedom, man. Pink and Witterson on the way to see Aerosmith. Cars are a huge deal for Americans, especially for small town dwellers where you live and die by a set of wheels. And the more fancy set of wheels you have, the more tang you get. And in high school, you just get out to drive. You drive to drive. To get out of the house, to hang out in the same place with friends. When the unhinged gun-toting guy was about to blow a kid's head off, I was more concerned about the GTO getting chipped. God forbid he shoots out a window or chips the paint. The film is about finding freedom as a child. Finding freedom for what? It's for finding yourself, figuring out who you are. It's as simple as that. You can't dig into the theme that much more, and I can't even explain what finding yourself really is easily. Finding yourself requires a little bit of rebellion. Doing what you want to do for once. For better or worse. You take a look at the school mascot, the Rebels. Coincidence? No, because there is no coincidence in film analyzing. Pink's whole conflict in the film is he doesn't want to be tied down by any system. Even as the coach is signing some ridiculous paper about them not drinking so they can do better in sports. There's random townspeople that edge him on too, like this old guy, and not even in an old way. He's just chilling. He just likes to watch some ball. Wants to see the kid succeed in sports. The coach's dictatorial stance here is a recipe for rebellion.
Some other choice they're going to make for you.
Coaches and teachers usually all have good intent in instilling discipline for some kids, but others, it's just a recipe for rebellion. And it has to be that way. We need discipliners to make rebels because we need rebels to learn. That's how you learn, man. That's how you grow up. That's how you figure out what you like in life. That's how you figure out who you are. Does that make sense? I don't know, man. Think about the title, man. It's Dazed. Dazed. Obviously, that's the reefer. But confused. Are you confused from getting high? No, it's confusion of life. It's confusion of growing up. You don't know what you're doing, man. Some other small anecdotes about the film that are great is this token black guy, at least who you think it is literally the only black guy probably in all of Texas. It's not. He's a very small character with a lot of substance. It took me like 4 or 5 watches to see. He picks up the paper that Pink throws away, and he's not as pushy like his other friends that try to get him tight and like literally make him feel like a piece of for not wanting to sign it and wanting to do his own thing. He's just like, come on, man, you know. He's nice about it, and then he literally saves Mitch from another ass whooping. And then he when he has Mitch go get him some beer, he says, keep the change, and he gives him a beer. It's so cool, man. He's like the coolest, like the low key the coolest guy in the movie. There's beauty in this film. There really is. It's just nostalgia. Really, nostalgia for a time that I wasn't even alive. It's childhood drama and friendship unfolding under the clear skies of Texas. These wide shots, they show so much personality, fitting the colorful characters within the groovy production design and awesome town. It's all nostalgia. That's what it mostly is. Some people might see a frame like this and just not get it. I can hardly explain it because I was born in 1988, so why is this nostalgic for me? I suppose, in short, I'm trying to get closer to my folks and people of that generation before me. And watching a young kid taking it all in for the first time is very interesting. Good or bad influence. When a younger kid sees a dude like McConaughey, whose every word and every move seems to be so slick and cool, the kid's taking notes, and then he applies it. One of the greatest needle drops is right about here.
Here comes the story of Eric Kane.
This film might have a couple of those, so it's like which flavor you feeling tonight, you know? And the analyzing of the music used could be a whole video unto itself, but that is a ton of work, so I'm just going to glance over it quickly because that's another thing that this film is kind of popularized, is just wall-to-wall soundtrack. A lot of popular movies do it these days. They find the most popular music and just shove it in. It has no other meaning. But every song here fits the mood and the tone of each scene, exacting the motion and the physicality of what's going on, down to the lighting and even to the vehicles that the characters are driving. The music selected is a conscious choice, but it's also just an instinctual choice on behalf of Linklater. Gosh, McConaughey looks so damn young. So good in this movie. When this dude cries after crying, it's so funny, but it's so relatable also because I know he's never been in a fight before, and it shows a lot about his character. I can completely understand where this man is coming from and the frustration of bumping into a random jerk off at a party, and then you just have to fight him. But it's just, you're not that type of guy just to get into fights. But for whatever reason, it's just like you got to do it once in your life, maybe. I don't know. But him just like losing it, you know, he's pushing all of his emotion to the front right there. It's like a cry for help, it really is. Things are viewed so much fonder and better with intelligence and time passing, right? The shot here is one of the coolest movie moments ever. It's the best shot and the most formalist shot in the film as well. That actually shows us what's going on. It's what the film's about. It's so broad to try to capture real lives and youth. You can't even narrow it down to one word or phrase. It's just a feeling. It's a shot combined with a drunk senior on his last day of school in the wee hours of the morning monologuing about not living with any regrets when they're 18. You know? It's your whole life. Your whole life is school up until that point. Speaking of this guy, this actor, Sasha Jensen, I don't know what it is about. Well, I know exactly what it is about his drunk acting here. It's literally like 6 a.m. You've been up all night. You've been drinking. He's hammered. All of those movements in his eyes, it's so spot on. I love it. I'm sure Dazed and Confused will go on as a film that I watch at least once a year. The feeling captured by Linklater and the cast and the crew is such a just cozy and inviting world that if you're feeling blue about life, about school, about romance, about your childhood, just, take a look, pop in Dazed and Confused, man. It's such a good time. I don't have anything else to say, I guess. I think I've said enough anyway. I don't want to talk anymore about it. Talking and analyzing this film seems a little bit pointless, but I love it so much, I just had to. Just to try to get my words out there, Try to get my feelings on it. Trying to grasp my own feelings. More than just the film, just the life, about who I am. It's the power of cinema, man. See it in theaters. It's coming to the theater near you. Just kidding. Alright, this has been Andrew. We're gonna go. So, see ya.